Welcome, everybody. How y'all doing this evening? Welcome to another edition of Real Talk for Real Men. It's good to see you guys. If you guys only knew the Herculean effort that it took for me to make it here tonight. So I want to thank you guys for me bearing with me as I'm running 30 minutes behind. And so I'll catch you guys up on what's been going on. I missed you. I missed everybody. I've been gone for a week, been going through a few things, but thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for still being with me, riding with me. You know how we do. And so we're going to get it cracking tonight like we always do. I'm going to bring in my co-host, and then I'll start bringing in the guests, and then we'll get into things and bring everybody up to speed. So let me bring in my beautiful co-host, Miss Mac. What's going on, McMac?
What's going on, Black?
All right, all right. Do you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fantastic. So,
Great.
guys, as you guys know, I've been kind of keeping Tasha abreast of what's been going on. I've been off for a week because I've actually I had a death in the family. I was on vacation when I had this death in the family, all while I was starting a new job. And so this week I've been getting acclimated, kind of getting back up to speed. What's up, Carlos? Thanks for joining me, my brother. I appreciate you guys for coming back, not leaving me and staying loyal. So we're going to start bringing in the guests, and we're going to kind of get back acclimated and do what we do. I see I got Mr. Bird in the house. What's going on, Brother Bird? How you doing?
What's going on, Black? What's up, T? Good to see y'all.
Oh,
Missed you.
man. Yes, sir. Thank you, my brother, for riding with me. I appreciate it. We
All
getting
the
a little
time.
late start. Good to see you. Good to see you, man. Y'all
Yes.
don't know how much I missed y'all. I appreciate it. I truly,
Listen,
truly
the feeling
do.
is mutual, man. My condolences to you and the family as
Thank
well.
you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Let's bring in Mr. Joseph in the house. What's going on, Mr. Joseph? We can't hear you. How's it going, my brother?
I'm good. How's it going? Hello, everyone.
Oh, man, doing good. Good to see you. We missed each other in New York a
I
few
know
times. We tried, but there'll be other times for us to get together for sure.
for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm gonna, as usual, I'll give a couple of minutes for some other people to join. I know I'm running a little bit late. Bree says sorry for you. Thank you, Bree. I appreciate it, sweetheart. Yeah, so my oldest sister, her husband died. Just to bring you guys up to speed, it happened on my very first day I was on vacation. Literally, I was in New York, got there, couldn't ask for better weather. I'm drinking. I'm feeling good. About 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we get the word. It completely changed the trajectory of my trip. And it was just a struggle from that point. But I've been back home. I am on a new job. And you guys know how it is when you start a new job, in training there, but they're paying me handsomely. So I can't be too mad.
That's right. Get that money. Get that
I
bag.
gotta get that dough. I gotta get that dough. So we're down to this last couple of days. Then I'll be back free when I'm on my own time, and I can kind of get things back to normal. Also, if the show looks a little differently, I've ordered new computers. We're doing everything bigger and better. We coming back bigger and better. Trust and believe. So I'm having to do this on my laptop because I'm training on my laptop, and I haven't hooked up my new computers yet. So when you guys see me on Saturday, things should look back more crisp. Everything's going to be big and better. I promised everybody that I would end 2021 on a better note. It's happening. It's happening for real. And as we know, we hate that a loss happens, but life goes on. So I thank you guys for your support. What's going on, Lynette? How you doing, sweetheart? There you go. Upwards and onwards. And so we're going to get it cracking tonight, and I hope I get some ladies other than Tasha to join me, because I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at what the subject matter is tonight, because it's going to be a good one that I didn't want to put off. I've already put it off a couple of times, and I did not want to put this topic off. Me and Tasha talked about this. We're going to talk about porn. So yeah, it's going to get a little nasty. But y'all know how we do it. Y'all know how we do it. We're going to talk about porn, and we're going to talk about it in a real way. That's the only way we know how to do it.
That's right.
And we're going to talk about it, how it affects relationships. So I definitely want to y'all bear with me, because I would like to get the women's input on this for a reason. in case you're wondering how we came to this topic, the more I've talked to men, what I've come to hear from a lot of men, believe it or not, is how they're more and more being turned off by, frankly, seeing too much. The pendulum has swung so far in terms of what's considered sexy, it's turning a lot of men off, and I think for a long time, we as men, we get this bad rap that we're comparing women to what we see on videos and this and that. But what I'm noticing is I think a lot of the women are on the forefront now of putting it out there in a way that has desensitized a lot of men to the point where we want to say, put some goddamn clothes on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you see award shows where, on live on national TV on the Grammys at 8:00 in the evening, early hours, Two Nasty Filthies is grinding, it's not sexy anymore. Every TikTok video got somebody shaking their musty stump. I mean, put some goddamn clothes on, you filthy nasty no goods. So, so you gotta understand, I am drinking. So you're gonna talk about it. But as we get into it, as we wait, Lynette say, oh Lord, yeah, it's gonna get real, Lynette. It's gonna get real tonight, no doubt about it. But I want to get your guys' opinion. What do you feel like we're at right now as a country when it comes to where we at with porn? Anybody?
I think right now, I mean, in my opinion, I think that as far as with porn, I think it's a little bit more acceptable. I think back when I was growing up, and I don't mean to sound like the old man in the group, but it was kind of taboo.
Yep.
But now it seems like you were saying, like you're seeing at award shows, every TikTok that you see, it's barely got anything on. So it leaves nothing to the imagination anymore. So I just think that now it's a little bit more acceptable now in our society than it was before.
Absolutely. And let me ask you this before I move on to the next person. Do you have sons or daughters?
Oh, say it again. You cut out on me a little bit there.
I'm sorry. Do you have sons or daughters?
I have sons.
Sons. How old is your son?
They're 26 and 21.
Okay. So you got actually grown young men.
Yes.
If you can share with us, if it's okay, I'm going to ask a personal question. At what age would you say that they were exposed to pornography?
I would say, now I'm going back a little bit. I could say with my oldest, with him, from what he told me, I believe it was like around like 15, 16. And with my youngest, it was around the same age.
Gotcha. And that was my experience as well.
Yeah.
And I asked that question for a reason. I'm gonna come back to that. Joseph and Tasha, what's your take on where we stand when it comes to porn right now? Because Lynette says my mom would check me horribly, put some clothes on that big ass, and then duck, and she had to duck from the shoe coming our way. So that was our generation that we couldn't wear any and everything. So and we know that's not the case now. So what do you guys think?
You can go, Tasha.
Okay, I would say that I think it's too accessible. There's an overload right now of too much, and I think what we're seeing is we're desensitized to it. There's no longer any shame associated with it, where you got to sneak and do it. It's just socially acceptable. And also, I think that we're seeing a lot more of an addiction to it as well, which is leading down even darker roads. The whole Josh Duggar thing, his thing is child pornography. And that has upticked even more with regular porn being as open and widely available as it is. Child pornography has skyrocketed as well. So we're on dangerous ground right now. We're in some bad territory.
Hence why we're doing this subject. Welcome, Hannah. How you doing, sweetheart? You look fantastic tonight. Look fantastic tonight. All right.
Okay.
So we're asking Hannah. You can chime in after Joseph. I just want to know where you guys feel we're at when it comes to porn, right? As a country, where we're at. What do you say, Joseph?
I feel like right now it's just more, like Tasha said, it's more accessible. It's like an overload of it because it's always been there. HBO, Cinemax, all that shit. to show some type of soft pornography.
Correct.
So just now where you get, when basically once the internet start developing, people had more access to do certain things and get certain things offline, and it's really just more accessible now, and people live in, it's like an addiction. People thrive on that. And so with a whole pool of information out there now, because it's the internet and anyone can put anything up there, it just, for all those people that may never even wanted to look at any porn, it's just, well, let me try Pornhub or something. Let me see, since, I mean, they've even shown it during Super Bowl or whatever it was, like it's big commercial. So they're promoting that sexuality.
It's mainstream.
On the young people.
It's mainstream. It's
Yeah.
flat out mainstream. You know, and Joseph, do you have daughters or sons?
I have 2 boys and a girl.
How old is your daughter?
She's going on 5 in July.
Thank God. God bless her soul, you know. But my God, it's out there. And I'm asking these ages for a reason. How old are your boys?
14 and 10.
Okay. To your knowledge, have they been exposed to pornography yet?
My youngest son, not that I know of, but I know my oldest son, about 3-4 years ago, my mother had the conversation because she had found his cell phone with him visiting certain porn sites and shit.
That's the accessibility we're talking about. Hannah, what do you say, sweetheart?
I'm gonna piggyback off the accessibility. I feel like it's everywhere now. When you were younger, now I'm acting like I'm not young. I'm young, but when we were younger, like porn was something that you snuck. It was, you know, maybe Skinamax at night, you know, nothing as it is now. It's like it's everywhere, and not just the porn that you watch on TV or your computer. It's people just sending you the naked and nudity. They're actually sending porn to your phone. So people think that porn is videos and just movies. No, porn can be nudes. That's still a form of it. Because if you're pleasing yourself from that certain type is a form of it. And I just feel like it's a lot now. And a lot of people, some people can't even have a functional relationship because they're so addicted and they feel like that porn is what they need. So a real person can't really please them and give them that satisfaction.
And that's what we're talking about. How many of you guys remember when BET, they was BET After Dark and they played raunchy videos, right? You know, and that was like, you know what I'm saying? And that was, you went exactly where I was going, because for my time, that was the most raucous video I had ever seen at that point. He literally took a credit card and slid it down the crack of this chick's ass. It's my favorite video of all time still, but my thing was, that was the extent of oh my God, they're getting away with this. But even then, it was late at night. It was after hours. And like you guys are talking about, now it's advertised in broad daylight. Go ahead, Bert.
Yeah, Black. You know what? I was going to also say, I know when I was younger, and I told my beautiful fiance Hannah this. I remember, I believe I was like maybe like 15, 16. Do you remember that movie Caligula?
Yes, I do. I have
remember that. Yeah. I'm wondering,
in case you guys haven't seen it.
You bring this up now, jogging. I'm wondering, like, was that by Gateway? Because at that time, that was over the top.
It was. I
mean, they were showing a lot. I mean,
it showed everything.
Extreme.
He literally took his fist and fisted a guy. If you haven't seen this movie, I mean, it was so graphic, you know, that I had to own it because I like freaky shit like that. And I thought I was ahead of my time, you know. Well, I mean, not that I'm gonna get fisted. Ain't nothing been up there, up in that hole. But I'm just saying, I was freaky like that in terms of like, oh my God, you know, I ran towards, because I thought Nobody's got this. So man, you bring up that movie. And again, to Lynette's point, 14, 15, you would hide a girly mag under your mattress or whatever and get caught, it was just a different time. I'm sure all the guys can appreciate that. What's going on, Miss Candace? How you doing, sweetheart? Can you hear us?
I'm doing good. I'm trying to set up my light. It's been a minute since I did a show.
I got you. Hey, same here. So welcome. Thanks for joining, sweetheart. You look fantastic. Natural beauty. Don't change a thing. You're looking good.
Thank
you.
Let
me give you. Yes, ma'am. So let me give you guys some numbers just to kind of give you an idea of where we're at. In a 2013 study, 71% of men and 56% of women said that they thought that porn was perfectly acceptable in relationships. That was 2013. I want you guys to follow with me, ride with me here. Another study done in 2016, it talked about how watching porn alone led to less intimacy, less satisfaction, and less commitment in relationships. So we're talking 3 years. 2018 study, it did a follow-up longitudinal study where they checked in with couples every 4 years. They took these couples from 2006 all the way up to 2014. So it was a longitudinal study, and what they discovered that couples were twice as likely to get divorced who watched porn than those that didn't. In fact, the rate of divorce, the gap was from 6% to 11% for people who watch porn. Now, it's only fair. I don't want to paint porn in a completely negative light, because a 2012 study of heterosexual couples, men said that they thought porn actually, well, for men, it said porn lowered the quality of sex. Women said that it increased the quality of sex. And let's go 6 years later in 2018. This study talked about better. They felt like porn led to better sexual communication and more sexual experimentation and even more sex in general. So if you're following with me, you're seeing some good and some bad. So the question is it the chicken or is it the egg? Is porn itself bad?
I'll put it to you like I'll say this. It depends on the individual. That's what I will say, because you can use it as a form of enhancement for your relationship, but it can, if you don't watch yourself, you can wind up being overstimulated to a point where, even if you're not even attracted to those folks that are doing what they're doing, you'll lose your sense of intimacy at the wrong time because you're so overstimulated. So you really have to watch yourself when you're watching porn. So I'm not going to say that it's all bad, but it's like you said, it's like the chicken or the egg. It depends. It just depends. But I don't think it's all bad. That's just my take on it.
And that's where I want us to. We're not going to condemn it all the way, but we are going to talk about the negative effects. But before I say this, how many of you has used porn in a relationship and it's been a good thing? Anybody? Candace,
what do you mean by
you don't
that?
have to get graphic. I'll go first. I'll give you an example. Okay. That's what I said. I'm gonna give you an example because we've heard this statement many times in our life where they say money is the root of all evil, and people attribute that to the Bible, and they always get it wrong. It's the love of money.
The love of money.
Not money itself. Not money itself. Money's not evil. It's the love of money, And so in this same case, porn can bring some excitement to a relationship. If you've got somebody that is sexually immature, inexperienced, or unimaginative, and you introduce a little bit of experimentation to the party, that may not necessarily be a bad thing. Now, I've had my share of all types of women. Some of my worst experiences is women that got the fattest, plumpest asses, and you can't wait to get in them. You just know this is going to be a good experience, and you find out she can't even take no stick. You find out she don't even have no moves. She's like a flat, dead fish. Baby, we need to do something different here. So in those instances, let me introduce some technique here, because you carrying all that ass, you doing a disservice around here. So, and that's an example for me where porn was a good thing. You know, anybody else? Or am I the only freak in this room?
No, I was gonna say for me, because I think sex is very natural. There's nothing wrong about sex, especially when you're with your partner. So porn can only spice it up. Like, I might want to try one of the moves that they're doing in the movie. So I'm not non-judgmental in that sense. I mean, if you like what you like, my husband hates it. I like watching it without him sometimes. I know what categories I like and all of that, but I feel like it's natural, and to try to limit what I do, that's going to be his fault if he ever tries to do that, because it's going to be like, I'm going to have to get with somebody else then. So not to say that I'm leaving my husband and he limits me, but if I had that type of partner, if I had the type of partner that was that judgmental, then that's not the partner for me.
Which brings me to a question I want to ask, and it couldn't be any better. It's 3 guys on here and 3 women. Do you believe women can handle porn more responsibly than men?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, Tasha already jumped out there and said yes. So for you, before I even go into it, Tasha, let me tell you why I asked that question. Candace, so let me tell you why I asked that question. You just mentioned that you don't judge. You're open to watching porn even alone. You know what I'm saying? But then you added the end there. But if he tries to do some of those things, that's, you know. So for you feel like I can handle it. I'm going to absorb what I'm looking at. I'm going to inculcate that into my relationship, and I can do it responsibly. But I know men get a bad rap. So Tasha, why do you say women could handle porn more responsibly than men?
I think it's the way that our brains work, that they work differently. And I feel like women have a lot more self-control when it comes to that. We have the ability to not overstimulate ourselves. And I think sometimes men can initially start out watching it with the right intention or whatever, but easily get sucked into it, especially if it is just easier, or if they have a higher sex drive, or hell, if they're just bored. I think it's just easier for women, for us to moderate ourselves with that. You don't hear too many women too often having a porn addiction. That's not something that you hear regarding women, not as often as you do men.
Very true. Very, very true. I got to give a retort to that, but it's very true. But I got Hannah, did you have something? Because Hannah's going. Okay.
I think men it's exposed more than it is women, but I do believe it's women out here who don't have control over it. I just think it depends on your sex drive, because if you are addicted to sex and you're a woman, then yes, you will be constantly and not in control of porn. I think because they try to see it a little differently, it's not exposed as much. But I know a couple of friends of mine who I'm like, well, damn, how much porn do you collect? Like, why? And they're women. So I think it depends. I think we have a little bit more self-control, because we're not probably watching it at work, in our car, in our closet, but I really feel like it just depends on your sexual drive.
Okay.
I do have a question.
Anybody disagree?
I just have a question. Am I lagging, or can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
No, you're good.
So with the porn addiction thing, that's a tough, sticky situation for me. My son's father, he had a porn addiction, but I guess I looked at it like this. To me, a porn addiction and a sex addiction was different. And I'd rather you be watching porn at home safely versus having sex with random people. So for me, the porn part doesn't bother me. Now, if you have an addiction to like just both, then that's a whole nother thing. So I don't know. It's complicated for me to think about.
I love where you took it.
I love that.
I love where you took it because that's where we're going to talk about the effects of that of porn itself. Go ahead, Joseph.
Because I've heard women in particular say, "Oh, my man don't want to have sex with me unless we have porn on in the background or some shit like that." And to me, it's like, it's hard to explain because I don't see how looking at something on the screen could turn you on as opposed to something right in front of you. I was never really into porn, so I don't really have much to say on the topic. I just can't fathom how someone will get turned on more from looking at two other people have intercourse as opposed to themselves engaging in the intercourse.
Okay. I'm going to answer that one a little bit later on a personal level because I can relate to it, but I love your question. I love your question, Joseph. And I'm going to show you how, in my opinion, how that does happen. You know, sis, the link is posted there in the comment section. All you got to do is a copy and paste. Okay. And then Tasha says she just sent it to you. Okay. So back to the conversation here. So, Tasha, I want to start with what you said about you don't often hear about women being addicted to porn. This is where I think the needle has moved, because if you asking me in 2021, do men receive more snaps? I'm gonna keep it clean, and I almost got a little time where I can get real nasty with it. Do we receive more snatch pics versus women having dick pics? I would challenge that women are, I would say, twice as into receiving the nudies, the pics, and comparing dick sizes and things like that. Do you know that 90% of the porn instant messages I receive, they're not coming from guys. They're they're being shared with me by women. And so, while we don't call it an addiction, I would challenge that. I think in this new age of women, I want to show that as we get into the 7 negative effects, that I think it's kind of evening out, Tasha.
I don't know.
I think it's really evening out now.
We're not collecting those pictures to please ourselves. We're collecting them to show somebody, be like, girl, look at this, look at that. We're not doing that for that reason. I have never asked a man for a dick pic. It just pops up on your phone like, why? And now I got to show it to somebody like, look at this.
I agree with Tasha, because it's one thing for it to be solicited, but unsolicited, no, I don't want to see your dick. Like, that is the most disgusting thing. If you're sending it to me, yeah, I'm gonna show all my friends, like, look at this Ian sending me this dick pic. I didn't ask for this. So
y'all might be an anomaly, because we get asked.
You might have women that have asked you for it, but you're not sending them unsolicited where they're like, oh, thank you. They're asking you for it, though. There's a difference.
I'm not, but I know women who actually ask for it. They seek it out. They love it.
Hey, Black.
And what's very telling is, as all of y'all discussing dick, there's this big Kool-Aid smile on your face. So that ought to say something.
I don't want an unsolicited pic, though. I don't want an unsolicited pic. The thing is, you said they asked for it, so it's solicited. If you are randomly sending out just your dick pic to chicks, 9 times out of 10 they didn't want it because they didn't ask for it.
And can I say this?
All right, we go. Sure.
I feel like before men weren't trying to send them out. Now y'all men just be sending them out like selfies. Like I have gotten unsolicited pictures in my inbox from people I didn't even know. Like literally didn't know. And I'm like, what the is this?
I'm only
Like,
challenging that. I think now in 2021 that women are asking for it even before men even think about it. I'm only challenging that. But here's what we're gonna do. And welcome to the show, sis. We're gonna go through the 7 negative effects, and as we go through this, I want to see how they apply. If they apply more to men or women. Brittany says, my 17-year-old just said he received some pics on IG. And she says she'll be right back. And I'm glad she said that. And I want to read that because just in case people out here wondering that it's only boys out here sending naked pics, it is not. It is not. It's just as many young females that's spending the same way guys are trapped in a room, a hot musty video games all day. These hot little musty girls is trapped in that same musty, dirty, filthy, nasty room, changing clothes, showing their musty little trap. It goes both ways.
It does.
So we're gonna talk about the second. We're gonna go through. It's real, y'all. It's real. So we're gonna talk about some of these 7 negative effects. One of the negative effects I want to talk about first is the social and psychological problems. In this case, how it deals with men. The social and psychological problems, especially with men, because of the isolation and secrecy, depression that goes on. You know, how do you guys think from a psychological point that porn and addiction to porn, again, we know that there can be a responsible use of it, but an irresponsible use of it, how do you think it affects, in this case, first men, psychologically and socially? We talked about this ahead of time. Anybody?
Well, it can mess up your how you can relate to the opposite sex. You know what I'm saying? And
absolutely, absolutely.
Even being intimate, because if you're addicted to porn, then that world you're gonna think that that's the way you should treat a woman, or that's the way she should respond, or these are things that she should be doing, and you don't understand that this is just make believe. This is just made up. You know what I mean? This is just people doing what they're doing, and that's it. And to further go on to this point, there was a show that came out, I would say maybe like five years ago, and it was called Behind Porn. And some of these women were talking about how they were taking drugs and everything because some of the acts that they were doing, it was just hurting. That they just couldn't take it. But of course, they had to go along and do what they got to do and get that money and everything like that. But you didn't see what was behind the scenes, what these girls was going through after the shooting had stopped. You know, so yeah, it can have a major effect socially, as far as with men, you know, and how the way they treat women. You know, sometimes it could be a little disastrous if you're not careful.
Man, Bert, you bleed even into the actual physical effects of porn that we don't think about.
Yeah.
Pornhub is $1 billion business, and you think about that young lady on screen that's taking a gangbang, you know, whatnot. And to hear you talk about that, well, when those cameras go off, you know, she's got to deal with the real physical repercussions. Sasha, you laughing, but
I'm laughing at Hannah.
But for us as a man, it would be awfully difficult for me as a man to want to physically marry somebody that I know that on a regular basis is taking 6, 7, 8 dudes in a gangbang, and that's her job. You know, now I don't think I've ever been with an actual porn person, but I've certainly laid down with somebody where, you know, when I went in that cave, I could not find the walls, that I was standing in a hollow cave just yelling around, you know. You know, that there was quite a few soldiers that had fought that war, you know, and she clearly had lost. You know, so those are some physical effects, you know, but also the
Can I add this? As far as psychological effects, anything to do with addiction, I consider it like an obsession. So it's something all of a sudden that doesn't, I don't know the exact terminology for it, but all of a sudden your brain synapses, they're not firing the way that they're supposed to. And that right there is a whole other thing, because now you have something even more serious that you have to deal with, because addiction is real. Whatever it is, it's real, and it's hard to kick whatever it is. And then as far as the emotional effects of that, I would say for some men, maybe that, let's say for a young kid, he goes out to try to, lose his virginity, okay? And he gets rejected. So now all of a sudden he just turns to porn to please himself. And now he doesn't even know how to talk to women. Now he's in there and looking at weird shit like peanut butter and dogs, anything, it's just
weird. Absolutely. And this is how some of these psychotics are bred from the very beginning. And these 7 reasons, they're going to bleed into all these areas. But again, you talk about isolation. Let's keep it honest here. Let's talk about porn. That average person watching porn, he's watching it to get to a place. We're going to talk about masturbation here in a second specifically. But my thing is, let's be honest, even as a man, we don't just sit around and just watch porn with our woman. This is usually we go into the bat cave, to watch our porn. We have a certain favorite tape, because here's the other part. When for those people who are addicted to porn, it usually it has progressed to something that has went out of the norm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about the peanut butter in the basement, yeah, if you went on some people's search engines, you find out that your boyfriend or your husband, he like midgets, or he like chicks with dicks. You know what I'm saying? It'll look a whole lot different when you find out that, damn, wait a minute now, he likes swollen head midgets with dicks on them. What does all of this mean? How do I fit into this category? You know what I'm saying? So for him, he has to hide the secrecy. It's funny, but I'm being serious. Go ahead,
you bring up the midget. You and the midgets, man.
I know. And
I slept with midgets. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Bert mentioned this is a fantasy world, though. In real life, is he really gonna want this? So I guess that for me, I'm confident enough in myself to know that maybe that's his kink. And so maybe he don't want that all the time, but in the fantasy world, that may be what he wants.
Until he's watching it in excess to where he can only perform with that on the TV.
And I'll say I can only speak for me. Now, I like I said, I watch. Hopefully, my family's not watching this, and I'm gonna expose a lot. I watch a lot of porn, and I go down the dark path of porn. So sometimes I like watching the women with penises bang other women because they're pretty. They have penises, and then they're still banging women. So, but that don't mean for me. That don't mean that that's what I want. That's just the fantasy.
That's why I'm examining this, because you may have a better hold on it.
Look at me crazy either.
I was going to say something.
I was addicted to porn. A full disclosure, I was truly addicted to porn, and it started out innocently. So I was that guy. So when I use these examples, that is what led me to midgets. That is what led me to women with no limbs, because I needed something extra. Because
no limbs.
Yeah,
see,
that's the thing. See, you can't tell people, but then my search was, I think I was this close from being a serial killer in some ways, because I was secretly on a search where, okay, let me try the midgets first. And I wondered what it would be like to sleep with somebody who had missing limbs. Then I did the retards. I know all this is not politically correct, but I went through those stages, to where it was my private prison, to be honest with you, because I had porn playing at one point in my place when I walked in the door 24/7, and regular, just normal sex. you had to bring something extra to the table. So for me, it was definitely a social and psychological thing that I hunted those streets of Memphis like a serial killer.
Black.
Jackson Avenue, Mississippi Boulevard, Lamar Boulevard. A lot of women don't know they escaped a healthy death because I only did certain things to them and didn't kill them. But okay, go ahead, Bert.
Black. What was the age that this was happening for you when you were saying like this was 24/7?
Oh my God, we're talking about in my 30s.
Okay,
I was a grown, mature man on the hunt.
gotcha.
So this was, I was by day, I was a professional by day. And when that light went off at night in terms of being professional, what I sought out in those streets was something abnormal. You know, psychologically, I didn't want something normal.
Right.
And so I went through those phases where I videotaped, I did all stuff, I pissed on women, I did all the shit, I did all of that, you know, because I had seen it being done on porn and that excited me, you know. And so even in some of my regular relationships, I would try to sneak in things I saw on porn. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to add this
Go ahead,
too.
Kim.
Sometimes it changes because, like, I might last month I like whatever. This month I might like something else. So it changes for me.
I got you.
You
So
porn fluid.
Can I say one thing?
I got you. You might be stronger, Candace. Go ahead, Hannah.
So I think I might have a hypocritical mind. So the category I watch, I would never be in. However, I don't think if I walked in and my man was watching full gay porn, that I'm going to be okay with it. I feel like there's a hypocritical.
Okay.
But I'm being honest. Like if I walk in every day and
No,
you just watching
I respect
men
that.
banging, I'm like, well, do you want men? Like that would be my thing, and I can't. And I can admit that that's a hypocritical mind because if I watch
that.
my category,
And I don't even think that's hypocritical. I don't even think that's even hypocritical, to be honest with you.
Real.
It's that I really don't. I look at it as you're watching it with boundaries. But what we're talking about is those people who exceed those when it becomes a problem. An addiction is when it exceeds the boundaries. And that's why I respect where you guys are coming from. That's why I don't want to say all porn is bad, because you guys may seem to have a grasp on it and be able to control it within bounds. But you're saying that, okay, I could take it up to this point, but if I walked in and he's sitting there watching 3 dudes get down, that's a whole different ball game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Comma Dizzy, let me read his comment. He says, I think it can hurt the relationship because as a man, psychologically, you can tend to desire some of those scenes and ask your lady for threesomes, foursomes, and try to bring other women into the bed. Absolutely. Comma Dizzy, you nailed it. You know, and we're going to get into how it creates an unrealistic expectation. But I want to go to number 2 real quick, how it talks about porn rewrites the male brain. So when I asked that question earlier about how it affects women versus men, this is a real thing. How many of you know who Pavlov is?
Say it again.
You heard of Pavlovian experiment? There you go. So there you go. The education. And so what this talks about is the Pavlovian effect that's associated with an orgasm versus satisfaction. One of the things that can rewrite the male brain is that when you watch so much porn, what's the payoff in porn? It's the cum shot. You know, you're watching it, waiting, no matter whatever scenes they get into, flip them up and down, backwards, forwards. You're waiting on that cum shot, however that's going to come. And so the Pavlovian brain can get to a point where it's not really sex unless I get that money shot. And so now in your real life, let's talk about what happens in real life. Not every woman experiences an orgasm. Not every man can bring a woman to an orgasm.
True.
And so for some men, if they're addicted to porn and now you can't get this woman to that place or she doesn't do it the way you've seen on the screen, you look at her in a different light. But also vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So the women can look at it the same way. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Anybody?
I was gonna say I dated a man that this was years ago, prior to me being married. He growing up, he was exposed to porn at a very young age, and so he would jack off. Excuse my language. I don't know if I can say that, but he would do that all the time.
Absolutely.
By the time he got to an age to actually have sex with a woman, he could not come from vaginally having sex with a woman. He needed the woman to rub his nipples with Vaseline.
Perfect example.
And jack him
Perfect
off.
example.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was good.
I
Because
thought that was
from
hilarious. Sorry.
people have asked me about, my fixation with oral sex. I love oral sex. For me, sex cannot happen for me without head. I've told my audience that, many times. For me, it begins. I don't see how it cannot begin, and I know that comes from all my years of watching porn. Because what does porn start out? The plumber knocks on the door. Hey ma'am, and he got his tool belt on. I'm here to fix your leak. Bum, 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 bum.
Right.
Then the music cranks in. And next thing you know,
I gotta do some pipe work.
exactly. All of the cheesy lines, And from watching that, for me, all of those scenes, for me, it begins with it. And so that's, for me, it has to happen. And so it rewrites our male brain into taking that into consideration. Absolutely.
Well, I have a question. Could
Sure.
that argument just be made that that's just the only way that's just what that person likes? That's just what they're into. Why does it have to be, something
Beautiful
more
question.
perverse?
Beautiful question. So let me answer it for me personally. So let's go back to when I was much younger and I got married and there was a little time of more innocence.
Mhm.
Now, when it was with my wife or before my addiction to porn, oh my God, I was completely turned on by kissing someone, by smelling that person, by holding that person's hand. My wife, before I married her, she refused to have sex. That was the sexiest woman alive to me. We laid up in bed watching Arsenio Hall, and she got the ring because she wouldn't go there with me. But I was so turned on about every other thing that she did, And so there was a time when intimacy was more important to me than the sexual act itself. And somewhere in there, that superseded that, and I'll get into that even further. So that's the best way I can answer that question, McMack, is that I wish I could sit here and tell you that, well, that's just what I like. No, the reality was she could be pretty, she could be sexy, but if she ain't sucking no dick, then it ain't even happening.
And I just don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I've been with somebody, I've been with somebody, I'm not gonna say his name because it would embarrass him, but the only way that he would be able to orgasm is a very, very specific way. And I would ask him, like, do you do this with everybody or is this just with me? And he was like, no, it's just you because you're the only one that'll do it. So I was like, oh, okay, well, okay.
What have we talked about? What have you and I talked about? You just nastier than most women. I'm just gonna tell you.
But he said that's just his preferred way. But I'm like, how do you know it's your preferred way if no one else will do it? So,
And guys, am I the only one speaking on this? Because for me, I can relate to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, porn can retard the senses a little bit there. You know what I mean? It can rewire how the way you think normal sex is. So a lot of times once you do it a certain way or you find that niche, then it'll take you to a different road. It'll take you down a different path. I've known women where listen, it don't matter what you do to them, they still need to pop off afterwards. It just wasn't enough, and it was because it was because of porn. It retarded their senses, and it happens on both sides.
Perfect point. Perfect point.
I'll just say this: if you're doing for us, for me speaking for myself, it's more of a psychological thing. So for me, it don't have nothing to do with porn. If you're doing the right things and touching the right spots, I'm gonna get off regardless.
Smart.
So
That part.
I
I
feel
think
you.
everybody is different.
That part.
I do. I do think people are different, but I think this is very real. I realize my limitations at this stage of my life. I can't compete with what these young whippersnappers are looking for out there. You know what I'm
And
saying? Because
I'm shocked
Huh?
at Tasha's nastiness in these glasses. I said I'm shocked at
this my baby girl and me and her, we see y'all we have these real conversations every day. Y'all just don't know, and I have to tell
Tasha said,
Tasha,
"Don't let it
baby.
fool you."
calling her Lois Lane.
No, I have to say, baby, no, not everybody's doing that, baby. You need to slow that down, you know. Not as
Apparently what I thought we were all out here doing, we weren't all out here doing. So
and she
I'm
asked
nasty,
this just
apparently.
happened this week. This just happened this week. She asked another friend, and he told her, no, black is right. You
How
nasty.
can we know?
That's a whole nother conversation.
We'll have to
Say
wait till
what?
we get into the dark hour.
Yeah, after hour.
That's a
know.
whole
Don't say
that's
that.
a whole nother conversation.
No, this
Sherry's
is
looking
perfect 'cause
completely
there was a
confused over here.
question that I wanted to ask to more people. So this is perfect. Okay.
I am confused. I don't look at porn.
Come on,
so
nosy.
I'm just listening because I don't that it does nothing for me. I'm not
I
with
got
that.
you.
Y'all all know I don't suck dick. I don't care what they say. I'm not doing it.
So let me ask. Okay, so I'm gonna put you on the spot. So even though you don't watch porn, men that you've been with, were they advocates of porn, and did they have any addiction to it?
My husband have looked at porn, but not with me. I don't listen. I get
I
busy
got
when
you.
I'm doing my thing. You don't need no
I
porn.
got
I'm
you.
looking at it.
Okay.
I
But
don't
no.
got
So let me
time
ask you this though. Let me ask you this though. Even though he watched it without you, and you missed the beginning of the show, do you think his watching porn affected your relationship?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. So I'm gonna leave it here, and I'm gonna go to the next one then. So you don't suck dick, and he
No.
watched
Well,
porn.
damn.
You don't think so you don't think he went out and got his dick sucked.
He probably did.
So do you think the correlation between what he saw on porn and what you wasn't willing to do had an effect on that?
No, because I really don't care. If you're gonna go get somebody to suck your dick and you want to get your dick sucked, get your dick
We're
sucked.
not asking whether
So
you
don't be getting
cared.
it
We're
fucked
not
up.
asking whether you cared. We're not asking whether you cared. I'm asking, you know, women, y'all say something. What you won't do, somebody else would do. Y'all have heard that expression,
I
right?
agree.
Bro,
yes.
So
Yes.
you've made it abundantly clear. You made it abundantly clear. You don't suck dick under no circumstances.
Can I ask this
But
though?
he
Is
go
that,
get his dick sucked.
is that what he strictly likes though?
Okay.
Is that a deal breaker? That's the thing. It
No,
depends on if that's a deal breaker.
Wait, listen. My husband said he want to say something. Come say something. Wait.
Yeah, you hear me, Freddie?
All right.
No,
I hear you, my brother. Come on with it.
I don't have to get my Jimmy Wax, touch my rifle clean. I don't have to get that.
Okay.
Yeah, I could do
Okay.
without that.
Well,
All right. Bravo.
well, you
Bravo.
better do it down in front of
Okay,
me.
we got it from the horse's mouth.
And that's what I'll say. Some men I feel like have a stronger willpower, or maybe they don't have to get that if that person is satisfying.
Absolutely. So I'm the one that freely admitted that I was addicted to porn, and I have to have it. I had to have it. Let's move on to number 3, you guys. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bert. You got
I was going to ask sis. Did y'all have that type of conversation and
From the beginning?
you laid it out that's just what it was, and he was okay with it. That was it.
Yeah, Bert. Like when I met him, I was young. I was only 17.
Okay.
And we used to have them conversation. I told him I didn't do it. Was he into it? And he told me he got it done. Yes. But I had to tell him, well, if you need to get it done, I'm not with it. I don't know how life is going, when you get as we go along, but it didn't faze me because in my time, Bert, guys used to use it as a form of disrespect with women. So, I just couldn't get with it. But I don't know. Every friend I got does it, and they talk to me about it. It'd be funny to me. Oh, Sherry, let me show you when you decide to do it. This is what you're doing, all the tricks and all this other stuff. It just doesn't face me.
You're the only one I know that don't do it. So she's only my sister's the only woman that I know that don't do it.
No, I know other women that don't do it either.
But to be honest,
I'm saying I don't know if she's the only woman I know that don't do it. So that's why I said so. To me, she's like a Betamax. You know that she's old school.
I mean, I was Sherry once upon a time.
But if you ask me if my husband,
that's the key. Once upon a time, but in 2021, I just don't know anybody that it's not doing that, and to me, it's not realistic. But she's clearly in a marriage for something years that works, and her husband just came on camera and acknowledged he doesn't need that. Okay. So that's a beautiful thing. That's what you call finding the right mate. You know what I'm saying? That she found somebody that's not that important. There you go.
Right. They had that conversation.
Yeah, I met a man that is not satisfied.
Ahead of time.
I met a man that's not satisfied that he doesn't come from that. So there are some men that they want regular penetration.
And Bert.
I know guys that it's not that important to them. Now I do know that they've had it done and it's not that important to them. So for there's a lot of people that's not like me, that it's not at the paramount, that they can take it or leave it. So I acknowledge that.
I acknowledge that. Bert, when we had them conversations at first, Bert, he didn't do it either.
Oh, okay.
He didn't do it either.
So again, that's what you call finding the right mate. Let me move on to the next one, guys. Porn demeans and objectifies. So we talked about this a little bit already. So let's talk about how, when it comes to objectifying people with porn, let's talk about voyeurism. You know, watching what people do on screen, how it can make you more self-centered. You know, because it's about self-gratification. Like, damn, what she needs, I'm gonna get out of it what I need. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm a voyeur, 100%. I watch everything. I people watch.
Kid is like, I'm all with it.
Now, and see, again, if you can handle it, that's fine. But where it becomes an issue is when it becomes at the expense of objectifying the relationship itself to the point where, you know what I'm saying, that, okay, I see you, you know, all I see is the end result of it. Get to the end result. And so that's kind of talking about, for me, going outside the normal bounds of looking for something beyond what a normal woman possesses for me. That, okay, I need to get to that next level, you know. So that's where, for me, it became an unhealthy thing. Kama said, we killing them, you know.
Yeah, so I guess you're asking
also
your point, Black, in that, and maybe putting whoever you're with, your partner, in a position that they don't want to be in, or trying to coax them into situations that they want no part of. I can see that.
And that's the dangerous part. That's the dangerous part. That's the
Joseph,
deep water
your
part
wife,
that I was actually referring to. And that's why it's so important to have that conversation with your partner, because you got to understand what they can do and what they can't do, what they're willing to do and what they're not willing to do. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with somebody. That's their right. If they don't feel like they can do something like that, they don't want to do something like that, then there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't vilify them because that's something that they don't want to do.
Absolutely. And Joseph's wife mentioned this, she talked about how porn hypersexualizes people. And I think it's done it to the entire culture, you know, to the point where we're not only talking about adults, we're talking about kids that have been, as we said at the beginning of this conversation, that's been exposed to it. And so you look at some of the dances that's out right now. I come from a place where little girls wouldn't have been allowed to dance like that, to move like that, to dress like that. But because they're holding computers in their hands and they're exposed to everything, there is nothing they can't pull up, so they can move like a grown-ass woman. You know what I'm saying?
Not mine.
Arik says, I have a question related to relationship. Arik, please ask the question. I'll get it in, whatever question, ask it. So that's the to me, the hypersexualization, especially as it affects children and things like that, but even in relationships, you know, how it affects them. What about the fact, I told you we'd get to, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I want to say this with sexualization for being a Black woman. I'll say that because, you know, I am pro-Black. Our we're sexualized without our consent, and we're weaponized when we are being sexual. So that's why I said for me, sex is a natural thing. Now, when it goes to children, that's a problem within that person, that they're sexualizing that child, because that child is innocently just doing something. They're amongst their peers doing something. So if you're a man looking at a grown child doing that, I feel like it's something wrong with that man, because you know right from wrong. That child is just being a child. And so it's up to that parent to parent them. But as a grown Black woman, and my sexuality, sometimes they weaponize that. Like the fact that I like porn, I like to do whatever. I would be called a hoe, a Jezebel, a jungle bunny, all of that. And I don't think that's right. And oh yeah, jungle bunny is old.
So here's where I know. So here's where I know that I need to do a show on sexual hypersexuality. Because I don't necessarily agree with that assessment that it's weaponized and that is out of your control. You can't have it both ways.
Look, let me say this.
Let me make my point. Hold on. Let me make my point. So and that's why I said this is a much bigger conversation that I think we need to have. But my thing is that when somebody says to me that if you're a grown man looking at a child, well, where's the parents that's allowing the children to dance and move and dress like that? So you can't have one without the other. On the one hand, I do agree with you that as an adult, let me finish my point. As an adult, I'm certainly responsible for what I might act on, but don't put a twisting, grinding, sexualized child out there and then claim that you have no part in that as a parent when you're allowing that to happen. The same thing I would say with, you say weaponizes Black things like that. I'm more taking the power out of certain things, but Dave Chappelle had a joke, and we're not going to get too deep in this because this is a whole nother conversation. But Dave Chappelle told it, you can't come out with a sweater on, your titties all popping out through the top, your ass is showing, and then you wondering why somebody calls you a hoe. There's a correlation between the two. There's a certain level of responsibility. So I'm gonna let you have the last thought on that. Go ahead.
And I just want to say this. Now, with a child dancing and all that, that is up to the parent. But let's say as a Black woman with what I have on, as Black women, we all have curves. Tasha is mixed, but it looks like she has curves. Hannah has curves. Your sister has curves. We can be covered up. I'm covered up almost to my neck, but I can't help that I have a very curvaceous body, and people will sexualize that and say that I'm a hoe because I chose to wear something, the same thing that somebody a size 2 will wear, I chose to wear, but yet I'm a hoe because it shows my curves. So yes, that is another topic. But I just want to
that's a much longer conversation. But I'm a firm believer that everything that somebody wear ain't for everybody.
Because Tasha,
so
you
just
can
because
have
somebody who wears a size 2, if you know that your ass is too big in it, you shouldn't be in it. But that's a whole nother conversation.
We can wear what we want.
Commodizzy says, I don't agree. I'm from an era. He said, I'm from an era where a child was supposed to stay in a child's place and know better. And that's why I said this could lead to a much bigger conversation, because there's a lot of moving parts in that right there.
It is.
There's a lot
that goes into that. It really does.
A lot goes into that right there. So I know we ain't got time to dig into that. Let's talk about how porn turns sex into masturbation. Now, in many arenas, they tell us that masturbation is healthy and it's natural. How many of you believe that masturbation is healthy and natural? Tasha,
yes.
hand go up. Candace,
Oh,
hand. Okay. Okay, I don't know if Sherry hand went up or not.
No, I don't think it's
Sherry
You
said
know,
hell no.
so okay.
I don't think it's healthy and it's natural because God tell us don't do it.
Somebody's got to molest me. Might as well be me.
Tasha, go to sleep.
Okay. Okay.
Go to sleep. Go to your room. Go to
You
your
shouldn't be
room.
masturbating.
Go to your room.
Get you a man
So-
or a woman.
So here's where the dichotomy comes in, because once again, if we're watching porn, there's a payoff. You know, now some people, don't get me wrong, there are a segment of people out there that can sit and watch porn, doesn't even make their nature rise. They're watching it for a whole different reason. But we know that the majority of the people logging into XTube and Pornhub and all those other sites,
XX.
those are the people we talked about in the beginning. They're sitting around. There you go. They're sitting around, and, you know, with the lotion and looking at their dicks. You can scream, but ain't nobody gonna hear you.
Not the
That's the
lotion.
people who watching porn.
Lotion.
You know what I'm saying? You know, those are the people we talking about.
So let me
Because
ask y'all, ladies.
now we talking about. Let me finish. Hold on. Because we talk about those people
Lotion.
that is turning the act of masturbation into self-serve, where once you pleasing yourself, you're not about pleasing anybody else. And that's where the issue comes in, because how many of you women out there have been in situations where I got mine, I don't care if you get yours.
Mm.
Oh, I've never.
What about the guy that comes in 6 minutes? Tasha, go
I
ahead.
think
That's not even, that's being generous, but yes, that is those that are constantly watching it. I also think about the autoerotic asphyxiation, how they do some of the most extreme things while masturbating just to get themselves off, and then trying to incorporate that while with someone. No, that's how mistakes
point.
happen. That's how you push those boundaries too far.
Good point. Good point. Very, very good point. And what about the guy that has masturbated so much until now it takes more and more to get him off? So now even if you are getting head, you know, especially with black women, y'all think that 10 good minutes is enough, but you know, is you hard yet? Maybe you got a little more work to do down there. You know,
Y'all crazy.
You want somebody to be lockjaw 50 minutes?
I'm sorry, what you say, Hannah?
I said, what's somebody supposed to be lockjaw an hour?
You know,
It shouldn't take you an hour to come.
for me, a normal session is a normal session is about 25 minutes.
I was gonna say
Keeping it real,
20
that's
minutes.
the average, about 25.
It should be about 20 minutes.
That sounds about right.
Wait a minute,
That
y'all
sounds about
still
right.
in
I
school
like
though.
her.
As
See, I
long
like
as
her.
it-
See, I
As
like
long
her.
as it's the other way around too. Now some men like, no, that's just for him. He wants 25 minutes, but he's only giving you a minute or so of foreplay. Like,
Right?
you
2
ready?
licks.
No, like, wait a minute. I thought
Well,
we were just getting
but it also
started.
depends too. It also depends because some women, even though if you're going down, and even if you're doing it right, sometimes they want to feel that. They want to feel something else.
And I'll
You
say
know what I mean?
this.
But I bring my heart
I'm
in.
a-
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
I'm a woman
my
that
heart
in.
I'm a woman that
Okay.
I'm a woman that does not like
Tasha,
oral sex.
Tasha,
Oh,
Give
what'd
me
you
the
say?
like oral
I
sex.
can't hear
I
that.
don't
Tasha,
like-
you know my point about the reciprocity.
Ah, y'all taking me to school.
Hold on, I'm gonna get you in just a second.
I'm
So
older than
Tasha,
y'all.
Tasha, that's why I said I was talking to. Hold on. So that's why, Tasha, I was talking about the reciprocity part of it. That
Okay.
it unevens the playing field. That if I'm a guy and I want 25 minutes, and I'm only willing to give you 5 minutes, you know, you talking about a dissatisfied
Wow.
partner. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm talking about that reciprocity part. But Candace, you know, again, that's why I said that women out there that
I'ma say
out there
this.
that for you.
I'm gonna say this. I'm very sensitive down there, and so the tongue is a very dirty area. And so if you're doing that to me, I don't want to end up with a UTI and things of that nature. So no, I don't like it because I'm very sensitive. Now, if I'm satisfying you for 20, 25 minutes and I get you to come, I don't want to say that, but I have to say
That's all right, boss.
the second time we go around is going to take longer. The second time we go around is going to take longer. So therefore, I'm going to get the peen longer because I've already satisfied you the first time. So that in that second round, it's going to be a long round, and I'm going to get satisfied from that. So that's my terminology with that.
I like that you're going to with a plan. Let me ask Arik ask a question. I want to get you. I said I would get to this question. Arik said, there you go. Arik says, I'm Sicilian and I dated a black woman. I just wanted to know why people made us feel so uncomfortable, even hearing remarks in public when we were happy with mutual respect. We never knew how many people would even think like that. It's a shame. Okay, Arik, I thought you was asking a question that was dealing with porn. That's a question that's, to me, the answer to that's dealing with people's racism, prejudices.
Yeah.
So that right there, I don't think has anything to do with porn. Look, there's going to be people that's going to look at a mixed couple and they're going to have issues no matter what. So I'm personally glad that in 2021 that with that now, it's not so much an issue. That when you see a mixed couple, look, there's always going to be idiots that's going to look at somebody and say, hey, oh my God, you with this person, you with that person. But I'm so glad we moved past that point. So I don't know where you were when that happened, that you were looking in public. No, that's why I'm still answering your question, Arik. But that's not so much porn. That's blind stupidity and racism. And the truth of the matter is, we're never going to be able to eradicate that all the way, but you have to live your life and be happy with whoever you with, So that's my answer to that part. So don't worry about that. Do not let that stop your flow. If you find somebody you want to be with, hey, there's somebody for anybody, and you have to be happy with yourself.
That's
so
right.
I don't have a problem with that whatsoever.
Damn, you deal with you.
You know what I'm saying?
You love who you love.
Absolutely. Okay, what about, guys, how porn squashes the beauty of a real naked woman? How porn squashes the beauty of a real naked. I thought this one was interesting because for the first time in history, porn images have supplanted the allure of real women. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Porn images, because when we tune into porn and we see the fake breasts, the perfect ass, the flat stomach, that for the first time in history has supplanted, because we know in real life, the same way that muscle bound guy with the big shoulders, that's not the average guy walking around out there. So the average real woman out here walking around doesn't look like what we see on porn. Doesn't screw like what we see on porn. It's not realistic. And so for the first time in history, the image, and we see it in Instagram models and things like that becomes what's classified as beauty. And I talked about this last week about the Insta models and things like that, because how they're famous, but in real life, our everyday women, they can't live up to that, They don't really look like that. When y'all came on camera, in my opinion, all of you ladies on here right now, I think you look beautiful, naturally beautiful. You know what I'm saying? But that's no longer become the standard of what people see and aspire to, especially if they're addicted to porn. I'm sorry, please, anybody.
So I've never met a man that was upset about my curves, my tiger stripes, whatever I had going on. Men are visual people, and if I'm sexually confident in myself, that I feel like a car salesman. That's what's selling it. So he can visualize the IG model all day, but when he comes up to this, let's say my husband, he's feeling a real full-fledged, fully grown
Bravo.
woman, and he likes it.
Hey,
Bravo.
Black,
Bravo, Tasha.
that never really affected
what you have
me.
to say?
Whether it's IG, whether it's somebody on porn, I guess it was just me. I just knew that that's just them. That's their job. That's the way. It's just like a bodybuilder or anybody else, a model. This is their job. They gotta work on their body and look a certain way.
Absolutely.
Do what they do. So I mean, I never got caught up to like, oh, you gotta look like that. I love the curves and can't say love the type, whatever. Hey, listen, that's just not me. I love all types. You know what I mean? And I don't discriminate. So I'm not looking at it like, oh my God, like you gotta look like this or you gotta look like that. Now, if you want to look like that, then go for it. But if you don't, it's all right. It's fine. It ain't no sweat off my back.
What types you loving?
I got you.
I like voluptuousness. You know what I like. So don't even ask that question. You know what it is. You know the vibe. You know the vibe. You shouldn't even ask that question. You already know what it is. Go ahead, Black. I had to settle that real quick, but you know what it is. Come on.
I just wanted to add on to that. Maybe that's why we're seeing so many women feeling compelled to get these BBLs, is because of that body type is what's all that's flooded the market, so to speak. And that's why they're doing that.
Absolutely.
For a lot of women, I want to believe that you're doing it for yourselves as far as getting the surgery, but I don't. I want to say they're doing it for the men's attention.
Absolutely. Hannah, you have a thought?
I was going to say,
Sure.
So, I mean, I have mild curves, but I don't really like my curves because working in the business world, I got judged so much. Literally, people and I had the same clothes on and I was judged in a business setting. And I felt as though, like, why do I have this?
Okay.
I didn't ask for this. And I feel like a lot of people feel like, oh, you're doing this for different models, or you feel as though you know this. But some people who do have that body don't really appreciate it or really want it. But it's people out here that on Instagram or Facebook
Can I ask you a quick question?
As though you have to have this body. And people
Let me ask you a quick question.
Killing themselves.
So let me ask you a quick question. You said in a business world, were you being judged by men or women?
I
almost said the B word. Women.
Both. Well, for me, it was both.
Hoes.
For us, it was both.
That was the. Hold on, Candace. So that's why I was making a point, Candace, because I highly doubt in whatever world you walking through, sweetheart, that a man gonna look at you and say, "Oh my God, look at her. That's so disrespectful to other women." That, and again, I whole other conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because I think by and large, men appreciate. Look, unless you dressing trashy or something like that, but you're in a business world and you carry yourself in a business way, you're fine.
But what if
go ahead.
I'll say this. When I worked as a program manager,
I thought she had something you want to say. Go ahead.
Who?
I think he's behind. Black, I think you're behind us.
I didn't hear you.
Men have did that. When I was a program manager, I wore business suits every day. I worked in Center City, Philadelphia. I was in business suits. I was the only woman at that position. And a man came into my office and told me I only got that position because the way I looked. So it is men out here who have that same, and not my credentials, not my education, not my resume, nothing. So nothing else got me this position but how I look.
Both. That's what I was saying. I agree with Hannah.
Okay, well, so no, let me finish. No. Because that's just old hating ass bitch ass nigga. Let's keep it funky.
Thank you.
That's not judging your body. That's not judging your body. That's a fuck boy. It's enough where I can say how I feel it. That's not judging your body. That's a fuck boy.
Thank you.
That's some old hate nigga that's just looking at you. I
don't know no real man that would even say anything like that.
That's a whole different scenario. And the same way I told Arik that there's always going to be haters out there, baby, you can, if you're an attractive woman, there's always going to be some haters out there, male and female. That's a different thing. That's going to look at you and think, I bet she thinks she cute.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Well,
a whole different ball game.
Lee, you don't know
I'm
when we worked together, Lee, I toned down the way that I dress due to how people took me previously in the workforce. If you don't even remember,
Okay.
I dressed like a mom, but like
You
white
always
men-
was professional. You was always professional.
and it was very toned down because when I wore what I wanted to wear, which I didn't think was slutty, I had white men telling me, "Oh, your tits are nice," or like black men liking my boobs. So it's just liking my butt. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm telling
But,
you. That men are not going to have a problem with that.
Exactly.
You know,
that's what I'm saying. It'll be the other way.
Candace,
They
I always
be,
thought,
even though they being doggish about it, they're gonna
Right.
like, yo, you looking all right. They're not gonna be like, oh, look at you. Like, they're
Right.
not gonna be that way.
right,
Yeah.
right.
With your big booty.
Exactly.
Yeah, look at you with your big titties. Like, no, no man gonna say like, get out of here.
Can't.
Get that big ass out my
Well,
face.
Candace, let me say this last thing.
Well,
Well,
can
can
I we too much?
Can I say this? When I worked, Kennard works for, well, I'm not gonna say his company, but he works in the restaurant industry. He's a district manager. I work for it. His same manager used to talk about this girl. He called her painted on pants Ashley because he was looking at her ass. It was a white man, and he did not respect her. So I just can't say it's women, it's men that do it too.
But
Well, he
no,
was
but I'm
lusting.
saying that's a whole different
Yeah.
thing. That's a
He
whole
was
different thing. And I'm gonna say this to Sherry because Sherry had a thought real quick. But I'll just
Mm-hmm.
say this, Candace, going back to the environment we worked in. Trust and believe me when I tell you, sweetheart. As a heterosexual male at that company, we were so glad to see a woman that came in looking like a woman because there was a lot of you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna keep it this. Sherry, y'all know, read between the lines.
Yeah.
Read between the lines. And I don't want to get in trouble here. But Sherry, you had a thought. Go ahead, sis.
No, I was about to ask Candace why did
Sis,
she.
you had a thought?
Yeah, I was asking Candace why did she tone it down? Because you're gonna have haters everywhere, but a man saying things like that, you should have flaunt what they couldn't have. So
Well, I tone it down because I'm degreed, and in my industry, yes, you do have to look attractive, but you
I get
cannot look like what they call a slut.
I get it.
And so people will not respect
I
you
get it.
if
I get it.
they feel like you dress like a slut.
I get it.
And so I'm in
get
management
it.
now in this industry that I'm in, and so I get more respect. Dress like a mom. I might have a pretty face, but if I was to really dress like how I used to dress and show all my curves, they would not respect me. They would be like, "Oh, she looks like a whore off the street." So that's why I tone it down.
I get it. Yep.
That's what I'm saying. I get it. We down to 2 more reasons, guys.
Okay.
Porn has a numbing effect upon reality because it makes real sex in the real world boring by comparison. Now that one is definitely true. That when somebody's addicted to porn and what you see on that screen and how they turn their legs and flip into positions, that's just not what's happening in real life, in real homes. It's, you know what? We have our moments. All of us have our moments where we have an especially good session. I see you nod your head, Bert, but that's not the norm. You know what I'm saying? We have our moments where we do a little bit of role playing. Oh, baby, dress up in the French maid outfit. We have our moments where we, as men, we feel especially strong. Let me throw you across the bed. Listen to that. We have moments, but when somebody's addicted to porn where it's not the real thing, that in real life, it really doesn't happen that way. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to say it this way. When we look at porn, the guy's dick is not always hard. He's not always ready to have sex just at the moment you take your clothes off. He can't come on command. That's not realistic. The same thing with the woman, that how many times it's our woman, I don't feel like it tonight. That the moment that a guy whips it out, that doesn't mean she's always ready. that all those things that work in it, the videos is going to work. I know Tasha, for one, she does not like to be woke up. You're going to be in a fist fight if you think you're going to wake her up for some sex. But in videos, we're taught that that really works, and that, oh my God, the woman is always begging for it and she's happy to see it. It's just not realistic. It's not realistic. And it doesn't serve the purpose of what happens in real relationships. You know, Tasha looked like she got something going on in the background right now, and this conversation probably got her feeling good and nasty. So she's gonna do some nasty stuff tonight. Look, I've been gone for a week, so y'all gotta excuse me.
Right? You locked
I
and
feel like
loaded.
there's some aspects of porn that is real life.
Like
what parts?
Just
Oh
people.
damn! I know this is gonna be question and answer.
You put it out
Like,
there.
I
Yeah, y'all, because you put it out there.
You put it out there, man.
So I mean, I feel like you said, when some women, like, it's a preference. So it's couples out here that want to swing, that want to be down and dirty and nasty and filthy. Like, I have a girlfriend of mine who I'm not gonna say, but she can write her own sex book. And looking at her, you would look at her like, okay, I doubt she's into that. But the things she say she would do, I would be like, well, damn, I didn't even see that on Pornhub. And I feel like some things, it is some people out here who they are very realistic when it comes to porn. Like, some people, they don't care if you wake you up for sex, or some people don't care if you throw it in their faces.
No, I agree, but I don't attribute that to effects of porn. That just means she good and freaky. And by the way,
freaky,
holler at me about her later.
No.
I knew that was coming.
It's the summer, and I'm looking for a situationship. If she that nasty, then me and her might need to talk. but I told you I've been gone a week. I have to get. Y'all gotta understand. I have to work myself back into my rhythm. You know.
Yes, sir.
That's work myself back into my rhythm. I'm gonna bring this show. We came in right at 10 o'clock. Even though I lost 30 minutes, I want to thank you guys. I'm working myself back into my rhythm. I missed you guys so much. I missed these frank conversations. I was not as prepared as I normally would be, but I feel so good back seeing my family. Y'all are my family. Y'all don't know. So, you know, so if I was a little bit over the top tonight.
My dad, thank you very much. I was having a real conversation. It wasn't nothing sexual in nature. Thank you very much.
It was the first of
He
all.
could hear you in the background.
Tasha,
I forgot to turn down the other phone. What? What happened?
I sure thought you had snuck you one in there and was about to do something nasty.
No.
I gotta watch you. I gotta watch you. I gotta watch Big Mac.
Did you ask them the question that we were discussing? Because I gotta know. It's off subject, but not really off subject.
No, ask it. Go ahead.
Okay. So hypothetically,
go ahead,
people,
Tasha.
this is for men and women. Hypothetically, for men, when you're having sex with a woman, let's say you start out with oral sex. Once you pull out and once you begin to penetrate and you begin fucking, will you stop in the middle of sex and go back down to eat? Or do you just continue fucking, or you won't put your mouth back down there?
I'll put my mouth back down there. It's to me, it's situational. What? Who said what?
I did.
Okay, so you must have a bad memory because I've done that plenty of times.
You ain't never pull your dick out and
bullshit. Bullshit. And I'm gonna tell you right now, sweetheart, I don't lie on my dick. I don't lie on my dick.
Pull that dick out.
Yes, I did. You talking about just going ahead? You talking about coming in the woman, then going out there and lick, or you talking about just fucking and then coming out?
If y'all fucking, you gonna stop fucking mid fuck.
Wait a minute, Tasha. Go ahead and say what you say again. Ask the question.
Yes. So initially, yes, it's before you would come, would you go down there and start eating? But like, what if you came in her? Would you go down there and
no, I would not do that. I would do the first part. That's what I thought you meant. I thought you meant the first part.
Well, yeah, the first part too. I just wanted to know.
Yeah, after coming, No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, and I have another question, follow up to that. So, in my other question, I have, when you like when you go down on a well, if a woman is giving you head, whether or not you nut in her mouth or not, because we're getting real, whether or not you nut in her mouth, will you allow her to kiss you afterwards?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think most men would.
Yes.
If especially
I
if you
don't.
swallow.
So,
don't.
you know, that's okay. And okay, I have
I
another
know
one.
where my
This is
I
for
know
Wait a
where
women.
my
minute,
dick been.
let me expand on that real quick, Taj.
Okay.
I have to be in a relationship with you.
Oh,
It can't be
Oh.
no random. It can't be
Thank-
no random chick.
Okay.
well,
Okay.
that's what we're
So
not.
let me
Okay.
say that.
Anyways, so we're not supposed to be doing
Absolutely.
that. Write that down.
Bert,
so-
thank you for clearing that up. Thank you for
Yes,
clearing that
sir.
up.
Person.
I
We're not supposed to be
Bert,
doing
if
that.
you're in a deep committed relationship, thank you for clearing that up. But
Okay,
let's
so I have
when you
another
wasn't in a
question.
committed relationship,
So I have another question. If a man, if a man, you know, fingers a woman or whatever, women, do you know what you taste like? Do you mind if a man like puts his hand inside of you and like puts it inside your mouth? Is that like a
Yes.
big deal?
No, I don't mind because I taste good.
I'm not eating pussy. My pussy, her pussy, any pussy. I'm not eating no type of it. So yeah, you ain't putting my pussy in my mouth.
It's mine, and I know what diet I have.
I always do that. I
I
always do that because I just think that's normal.
I'm good,
I
and I'm
thought-
very clean, but I'm good.
I thought it was normal too.
Tasha,
Thank you. I'm not nasty black. I'm just normal. Thank you. Just
no.
you
So
know.
Tasha,
What?
say that to Kama. Kama says, I'm starting to like Tasha. You nasty.
No, Candace is right there with me. I'm
It's
not
not
nasty.
nasty.
I thought that's just how we were
Comma.
having sex out here. I just thought that's what we were doing.
Kama, she nasty.
That's
But
not
nothing wrong with
nasty.
that.
I thought we
There's
were all
nothing
doing
wrong
that.
with
You
that.
know?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So if you're doing anal and he take it out, are you sucking it?
I don't do anal. I don't do anal, so I don't know.
You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to.
I told y'all she nasty.
Tasha, you ain't say nothing.
Taj,
You're not supposed to. That's all I'm gonna say on that. You're not supposed to.
It's real talk. It's real talk.
Hold on.
You're not
Hold
supposed
on.
to.
I'm on a new
Okay,
level.
because I done pulled the curtain too far back out in my bedroom. If you're just fresh out the shower and you're freshly clean and you're doing it, you're not supposed to, but I don't see anything wrong with it. So
Each his own. Judgment free
it's
zone.
mine. I'm clean. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Each his own.
Hey, yo,
Did you-
Kama. Kama, holler at me for Tasha's number.
Are we am I being judged? Oh,
You're
shit.
not being judged. And Candace, I
Don't be
do it
pimping
either.
her out, bruh.
What'd you say?
I
You
don't
know,
do
yeah.
it either.
And to
Never.
me, anal is different because it's waste there.
I think if you're clean,
Kenny
you're
is
gonna-
right.
What is
My
the deal
brother
with anal?
Kenny is
Can I ask
right.
that question? Like, what is the drawbacks for you with anal?
Well, I mean, I've done it before, but to me, unless because I have gay friends, unless you've had like a diuretic to get it all out, I'm not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The
It
proper
hurts.
prep work.
Yeah, you
Okay.
definitely have to prep if you're gonna be that nasty.
Yeah.
You have to
This
prep
ain't
for
no
that.
S18. I'm not prepping for shit. No.
But as for vaginal,
Kenny,
I
my brother
mean,
Kenny.
I don't think there's nothing wrong.
Let me say this to my brother Kenny. Kenny, as you see, this is Lee After Dark, and we are not going down this rabbit hole no more because y'all done turned this into a whole nother conversation.
You done went to freak neck.
I know we
just
missed the
wanted
all
to
point
know.
of view, but oh my God.
I just wanted to know. We
Baby.
done lost Joseph. I
You know
just
what?
wanted to know.
What's wrong with licking a finger? I just want to know what's wrong with licking a
No, I
finger
just-
that was in.
Okay. I never said nothing on like a finger. I'm not tasting
Tasha, I want you to respond in the commentary. Comment say, Tasha, where you live at. So we're gonna leave it.
Can I say one PG thing?
I'm in Memphis. You come see me.
I know that's right. I want to see
I'm in
something.
Memphis.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
I want to say one thing,
I am
PJ.
done.
Okay, go ahead, Hannah.
Go
I
ahead.
want everybody to tell Candace happy birthday because it's her
Oh.
day.
Oh,
Yes,
happy birthday.
yes. We're gonna end on that
Queen.
note. I did tell her
Gemini.
earlier. Now I did tell her earlier. Happy birthday, sweetheart. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Not
Thank you.
over. Pour you something to drink, and you and Kennard, y'all enjoy. Yeah, y'all
right.
enjoy. We're gonna end on that note.
With
I'm
some pork.
starving, I'm
Right.
tired, but y'all have given me more energy. I promise you. I
Wait
miss
a minute,
y'all to
wait.
death. I will see y'all on
Wait, brother, I gotta ask a question.
Sherry.
'Cause
No. We're not doing no more sexual questions. No more. We get ready to end this segment. We're not doing no more because y'all are
No,
killing me.
brother, I gotta ask
It's
this.
been a great edition. Y'all can stay in the room and talk, but I'm gonna end my show on that happy birthday note, and I will see y'all on Saturday. It's been
Sound
another
clear.
edition of Real Talk. God bless y'all. Oh my God.
Oh.